At the heart of any revolution bent on changing human behavior lies an anthropology, an understanding of who we human beings are and where we fit into the scheme of things. And here is where religion and theological education, I think, must take a major role. The religions are one of the central institutions in society engaged in the business of forming basic, often unconscious, views of who we are and what we should do. As Mary Evelyn Tucker says in her book, Worldly Wonder, the world's religions need to provide us with a major transformation, a comprehensive revisioning of what it means to be human on a finite planet. Most people in Western democracies think they are basically and centrally individuals. They do not, first of all, think of themselves as members of a community, either of a human community, even less of a natural or planetary community. This assumption encourages people to work hard and to compete for scarce resources, thus tending to see others, both human others as well as other life forms, as resources or impediments towards one's own goal of self-sufficiency. But what if this view is no longer creative? What if it has become destructive? What if it should turn out that we are not our own, but belong body and soul to others, other people and other life forms? What if we discover that the individualistic anthropology is a lie, that ecological anthropology is closer to the way things are? What if the consequences of climate change are telling us that we are living in ways that our planet will not allow? What if we begin to realize that the community model, the model in which human individuals must fit into a just, sustainable planet, is a necessity? What if we wake up from our dream of individualistic glory, regardless of the consequences to others, and realize that we will either all make it together or none of us will make it? What if a very different view of who we think we are should become common, should become conventional, should become natural, as the individualistic anthropology presently is? Global warming is not just another important issue that human beings need to deal with. Rather, it appears to be the demand that we live differently. We cannot solve it, deal with it, given our current anthropology. It is not simply an issue of management. Rather, it demands a paradigm shift in who we think we are. Now, this is certainly not the only thing that is needed to be done, but I think it is a central task. For without it, we cannot expect others or ourselves to undertake the radical behavioral change that's necessary to address our planetary crisis. Hence, what follows is a primer in ecological anthropology. When I was a theology student here at Yale 50 years ago, describing anthropology as ecological would have made no sense. Anthropology was about human beings, period. Indeed, the focus of the Christian study of humanity was radically anthropocentric, centered on human beings, not in relation to nature or creation, and more specifically on human beings as individuals before God. Isn't Christian theology about people being saved? What does it have to do with the environment? Since the Protestant Reformation, the focus of Christian theology had narrowed from its original scope, including all of creation, to a pinpoint, the self with God. The turn to the subject, to the individual human being, which began with Protestantism's concern with individuals and their relationship with God, reached its culmination in 20th century existentialism. With science taking over nature, theology retreated to the inner life of individuals in their alienation from God and their struggle to believe in God. It was a narrow field of operation, and one in which ecological anthropology makes no sense. Implicit also in this picture is the conventional assumption that human beings are superior to other creatures. The Genesis command to subdue and dominate, while not necessarily encouraged, was seldom refuted. Human beings were understood to be individuals in relation to God, either properly related or improperly related. The contemporary heirs of existentialist individualism, born-again Christians as well as New Age folks, carry on the focus on individual human beings with their concern for the salvation and/or the therapy of individuals. This theological focus on the individual meshed well with the anthropology emerging from two other American institutions, economics and government. The economic person of market capitalism is the insatiable individual whose desire for endless consumer goods fuels the system and is necessary for this economic model to function. Likewise, since the 18th century and the founding documents of the American government, the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness of individuals has been the signature statement of American anthropology. When these three major societal institutions, religion, economics, and government, all agree on a basic anthropology, one that focuses on and supports and celebrates the needs and wants of individuals, a powerful statement is being made. It is implicitly forming the unconscious and semi-conscious assumptions of its citizens in regard to what they can and should do in their personal, professional, and public lives. These pillars of society, religion, economics, and government, spread a canopy over individualism, blessing it, while at the same time creating a formidable barrier against alternative anthropologies.